There's been a recent amendment to the Privacy Act which came into effect on the 22nd of February 2018. It's called the Notifiable Data Breaches Scheme, and all medical practices need to abide by this. What it means is that if your practice has a data breach or you suspect there's been a data breach, you need to consider whether you have to notify both the Office of the Australian Information Commissioner and the individuals who've been affected by the breach. A data breach could be one of three things under the law. It could be unauthorised access to personal information, unauthorised disclosure of personal information, or a loss of personal information which could potentially lead to unauthorised access or disclosure. So if there has been one of these breaches, then you need to decide, could that breach result in serious harm to an individual? And then you need to decide, can we contain that breach? Can we stop that risk of harm from happening? To work out whether serious harm's likely, you can look at things like whose information has been lost. So some people may be more vulnerable, like celebrities or young people. You can look at who's had access to the information. You can look at how many people have been affected by it. So the more people, the more chance that someone will have serious harm. And you can look at whether the data is in some way protected. So is it encrypted or protected in such a way that people won't be able to access it? In some cases, you could take steps to prevent the risk of serious harm. For instance, if you had a laptop containing medical records that was stolen out of a car and you realised quickly that it had been stolen, you may be able to remotely disable access to the laptop. Once you've decided that an eligible data breach has occurred, you need to notify the OAIC as soon as possible. There's a link on their website to a form that you need to fill in, and it specifies all the features that you need to include on your notification. If a practice fails to notify of a data breach, the OAIC can make a determination forcing you to make a payment for compensation, and they can also impose quite significant fines. Affected individuals can be notified in one of three ways. Firstly, you can notify every individual who's affected by the breach, or you could choose to notify just individuals at risk of serious harm. And if neither of those is practicable, say hundreds of thousands of people have been affected, you can publish a notice on your website and take reasonable steps to publicise that notice. The Notifiable Data Breaches Scheme is just one part of your privacy obligations, and you can find out more about those obligations on MDA National's website.